So what's the town doing to support you, and what are we doing to sort of take the town forward? So strategies for business. So our first speaker is Shelaine. Shall I come up?
Great, thank you.
And you've got about 10 minutes.
Great, I'll just wait for that to come up. Hello everybody, my name's Shelaine Siepel. I'm the Managing Director of the Sustainable Business Partnership Community Interest Company. We were started in 1998. We have our 25th anniversary next year as a partnership of local authorities and public sector bodies in the other bit of Sussex. So we've come very far and managed to migrate over here into East Sussex and across the region. And we offer sustainability support to businesses and social enterprises and organisations predominantly, and have worked a lot in energy efficiency, sustainability tours, and just making sure that we're looking across the range of sustainability impacts that a business or organisation may have. So the reason I was asked to talk about carbon reduction strategies for business, and I don't usually do what I'm told, so I'm not entirely going to do that today. And what I want to talk about is authentic sustainability. And the reason why I want to do that is because, you know, we're all here today mostly because we're in the business of selling services or products that relate to the climate change or carbon agenda. And what I want to do is make sure that, you know, we're using this opportunity to really look into our own organisations and behave in ways that are authentic, because customers, stakeholders, staff, they see what we do, and if we're not authentic, then it's very difficult to move this agenda forward. So the other thing I was asked to talk about today is carbon, and obviously all of you are very enthusiastic about the solar agenda, as am I. But what I wanted to do is to just draw our attention to the wider picture, and particularly having been in this, you know, quite a long time, we've gone from talking about social, economic, and an environmental sustainability. And, you know, 10 years ago we were talking about things like One Planet Living. And, you know, over the summer we're very focused on drought, and now we're very focused on flood. And we're very focused on energy prices right now, and that may change. And what I wanted to do is just say to everybody, you know, please let's not lose sight of the bigger picture. Carbon, energy, the net zero agenda is a very sort of, actually this isn't working. Is that? Oh, there we go. It's quite a small part of the bigger picture. And if we look to the Sustainable Development Goals, where am I pointing to? You're doing it. Okay. There's a lot of areas that are sort of been punted over into scope 3 emissions. If you look at things through a very net zero lens, they're actually vitally important. And, you know, today, you know, we have a wonderful set of stalls here, but you won't see stalls from people who are saying use less, because use less doesn't create profit, it doesn't drive business. But it is absolutely vital that we consider the reuse agenda, repair, making sure that the things we buy are good, well made, and last. Because at the end of the day, if we don't address consumption, then we aren't going to achieve what we need to achieve all round. So I feel it's important to make that point today as part of what we're discussing. Now, I'm probably going to struggle with my presentation a bit because, yeah. If you want to, if you go to the next slide and just click all through, just put them all up because they go one by one. So, you know, you're all experts here. I recognise a lot of faces here who probably know much more than I do. And what I'd say is that, you know, you can have a carbon reduction strategy and it can be wonderful, but will it be there in 5 years' time? You know, will your employees, will your staff be so sort of browbeaten by the sustainability agenda that they'll stop paying attention. And, you know, the best carbon reduction strategy is the one that's still in place 5 years after that you started it. So what I thought I'd do is talk very anecdotally, with absolutely no scientific basis, about the organisations that I've come across over the years that are doing it right. And one of the first things, was it? Oh, it wasn't on. So saving energy just every minute of every day. I'm so authentic. Just don't turn stuff on. The absolute key thing is top management buy-in, and you know, in local authorities that's vital. And you know, it has to be not just lip service. The strategy has to lead to action. And you know, the days of writing big long strategies that take 2 years to write, and then the political agenda changes, and then you have to rewrite the strategy again. That's over. It needs to be action and now. A clear policy needs to be in place with smart targets, and that are regularly reviewed. And action plans need to just really focus on a few key things. What tends to happen when you get into this agenda is that you'll end up with this thing that's 50 pages long, and you sort of lose track of what's important. So really sort of focusing on a really few key actions is vital, and feeding back on them, having fantastic data. We're really lucky now to have such good data in terms of smart metering, and being able to use that in ways that you're feeding that back into the communications that you have will help to galvanise action going into the future. And I think what I would say is that in sort of 20 years in working in this sector, I'm an ISO 14001 auditor by training, and I spent years really unsuccessfully working within an audit framework, and because it was all focused on telling people what they're doing wrong. And you know, it's absolutely key to this area that you focus on telling people what they're doing right. It's basic psychology, but this sector is so focused on sort of hitting ourselves with a big stick, saying, "Oh God, you know, not doing enough." But actually, just really focusing on the positive stuff that you are doing right will achieve a lot more in the long term. One of the things that I've put up here is well-controlled equipment with good handover notes. Now, I think if there's any one thing that can make a bigger difference with zero investment to most businesses I go to, it's having somebody that knows how to use the kit. Because what will tend to happen is you'll have all this lovely innovative technology put in, and then the person leaves that knows how to use it, and then it gets turned off or, you know, turned on constantly, and you lose all the savings, you lose the benefit of getting the thing in the first place. So, I mean, I really hope I'm not teaching you to suck eggs, but what I would say is make sure that you use the kit that you have well and control it. It's such a tiny thing, but it has a massive impact. I would say also empower your employees to make changes. So I was really glad to see that somebody wrote up on the last section, capitalise on the enthusiasm and knowledge of your employees and bring them into decision making. Because I remember hearing a very senior management consultant at an event once say, you know, what I've been doing for 25 years is I just go to the factory floor and I ask the employees, what are the things that need doing? And then I go back and tell the management and charge them loads of money for it. Because actually the people who work in your organisation many times will know what the solutions are, but they will be facing barriers. That means, and often the barrier is time, allowing time, saying there has to be staff time allowed for this. You know, it isn't above and beyond, it isn't a voluntary thing, it's part of our everyday core business. So allowing time, staff time and training in order to be able to empower employees to make the changes that you want to make in your organisation. I would say also strong internal and external communications, no greenwash. I mean, you know, we are beyond a point where greenwash is acceptable. And, you know, we have to be honest about if you're doing a thing to save money, then say you're doing the thing to save money. Don't say you're doing the thing to reduce your carbon footprint. Be authentic. And I would say in some organisations, some of the best ones that I work with, they don't communicate about this stuff at all. They don't tell anyone. They don't think it's important. And there is a common theme across all of them that they are humble. You know, that they don't shout about this stuff because it's embedded, it's part of their core business culture. I would say, and the last one is about supply chain engagement. it's not widespread. It's happening more because of net zero and the need to collate information on scope 3 emissions, but the power that you have as an organisation is infinitely greater if you take influence across your supply chain. And this is happening more so now, but it's still not widespread. Yeah, still can't get it to work. Oh, there we go. One of the things that I do quite often early on in an organisation is to do some benchmarking, because usually you'll be asked in, and all the sort of sustainability consultants amongst you will say, yeah, okay, I've been asked in, and you will inevitably have a conversation where people feel really guilty about like what they're not doing. And so the nice thing about benchmarking is it enables you to show the things that you are doing, and a lot of things will be happening that are sustainability, climate change related, but you might not be calling it that. So it's about bringing the focus into the things that you are doing. And so I do that early on. I would urge all of you to do that in your own organisations, even if you think you're really good sustainable business. Do a bit of benchmarking once a year just to be able to show progress to yourselves and to others. And with regards to the sort of communications element, a lot of this stuff's invisible. It's really actually very hard to see most sustainability initiatives, particularly efficiency related, within an organisation. So try and find really nice ways to show people what you're doing. This is in a venue that I work with, and they wanted to show. On the right-hand side, you can see a little map, and they were very interested in local suppliers, and so they wanted to show people that they were actually monitoring and measuring where their stuff was coming from in order to support the local economy. So they made this stand that was put up as part of every conference. Yeah, okay, brilliant, thank you. So this is just an example of where you can take it. And my last minute is going to be a quick gallop through sustainable procurement, because as a business, the biggest influence you can have is on the products and services that you buy. And also, in terms of when I've ever run things like environmental policy workshops, the biggest driver a lot of times is we say, why are you doing this? Well, because I need to enter this wonderful local authority supply chain. So I think that's absolutely, it's important to make sure that you use your influence as an organisation to try and draw others along through you, with you. And I would say, as we have some public sector colleagues here, the particular area of interest to me is around the sub £25,000 contracts, where you don't have so much in the way of requirements from sustainability. So let's try and spend money locally and spend it sustainably. And I think that's my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shelaine. And our next speaker is